fun begins.
How's it going?
Hello.
Well, greetings, young Jedi. Hello there.
What is up, everyone? Hybrid Toy Reviews here. Welcome back to Black Series of Yesteryear, the retrospective series where we talk about Black Series waves of, well, yesteryear. And this episode is going to be kicking off the longest segment of this series, the red and black box packaging. So this is going to be wave one of the red and black box, and I gotta say, this was a really fun time to be a collector. For me, it was right after I'd started getting high school jobs. I was driving, I had spending money, it was awesome, and I was able to go and acquire this wave of figures after working a shift at my job, which was really, really cool. It was like one of those first grown-up moments for me. And this series, of course, kicks off with The Force Awakens, which, in my opinion, still holds up as a very good Star Wars movie. I have a lot of really happy memories associated with this time. So this was just a really cool time. I was able to go to Walmart the day of the drop. It was in the afternoon even. Evening, really. It was like 8 at night. And all the figures were on the shelves, and really, how can you beat that? So, kicking it off, let's go ahead and start with figure number one, being Finn, as he appears in The Force Awakens. Now, there was something a bit of a bummer, when this figure came out, being that, the big thing in the trailer for the movie. The movie was not out yet. This was the Force Friday wave. The big scene in the trailer was Finn sparking up Anakin's lightsaber, getting ready to duel Kylo Ren, and it happens in the movie, and it was a good scene. And Finn rocked the lightsaber for the majority of the lightsaber's time in the film. So it always felt like he was missing the lightsaber accessory. To me, I also remember kind of taking it as a hint that maybe the lightsaber really isn't his, because that was the twist, is that Rey's the Jedi. But this Finn figure, I gotta be honest, is a really good figure. It still holds up to date. Don't get me wrong, there are some very telltale signs that this figure came out in 2015, like the double pinned knees and the lack of the butterfly joints and the likeness. But as far as figures go from this time period, it's still a really nice figure. He has some nice weathering on Poe Dameron's jacket there. It's a really nice look. I really like the sandy paint that they used, on his shoes and the bottom hem of his pants to indicate he has been hoofing it around Jakku for a while, just trying to find a way off of this planet, because why does everyone want to go back to Jakku? He was really decoed up pretty nice, I gotta say, and truthfully, if Hasbro said, hey, we're going to refresh this figure and not even worry about articulation, we're just going to slap some photoreal on it, I think Hasbro could do a better Finn nowadays, but I would buy it. I wouldn't super complain. I definitely would prefer a redo at this point, but if Hasbro was so scared of putting any kind of budget into anything sequel and they wanted to really tiptoe it, which I understand, I would gladly buy this with a photoreal refresh. I think this is one of the better ones of this wave. Moving on to figure number two in this wave, we have Rey. And Rey is... I remember when I got this figure, really trying to convince myself that I liked it. Rey comes packed with BB-8. BB-8 holds up. Also, I don't believe was available outside of this figure release for the entirety of the sequel trilogy. So, if you're really feeling like you like BB-8 when The Last Jedi comes out, you got to go buy a 3-year-old Rey. That kind of sucked. But BB-8 turned out really, really nice. I do like how the BB-8 figure turned out. Rey comes packed with her staff, and it has a weird strap on it where it was really thick and chunky, so you really actually couldn't make her use the strap to wear the staff. The staff itself was decoed up nicely enough, though. And the Rey figure from the neck down objectively looks fine. It really could have used a wash to accentuate some of the rumpled, fabric that she's wearing. But the butter face on this figure is really what knocks it down. And there's a lot of frustrating articulation. Of course, after the movie comes out, you wish that you got Rey with a lightsaber, and they actually do revise her later on in a later wave. They repack her, and it's the same figure with the same number 2 on the box, but there's also Anakin's lightsaber stuck in the box, which actually good move Hasbro. But her articulation in the arms is so limited that Like, you cannot get her in any kind of good two-hand lightsaber pose, and that's incredibly frustrating. So it's one of the worst figures of the Force Awakens line, which sucks because it's like the main character of. So unlike Finn, where I'd be happy with a photoreal update, I really actually want Hasbro to come back to the Force Awakens at some point and just refresh Rey head to toe, new figure. Moving on to figure number 3 in this wave is the dastardly villain himself, Kylo Ren. Man, the rumors were rampant leading up to this movie and who this guy was going to be until, like, some magazine just said, it's Ben Solo, Han and Leia's son. Yeah, that, like, should have been kept a secret, yeah. But this figure, I'm going to be honest, actually still kind of holds up. Again, shows all the signs of being from 2015. You know, no butterflies, double jointed knees. But I think the sculpt is good. I really liked the fabric they used for his soft goods, like, bodysuit thing, because he's got, like, a sculpted figure, and then he's got, like, this, like, sleeve of fabric that turns into the skirt that he's wearing, and it honestly is tailored really nice to him. The belt looks really nice. The articulation is good. The helmet looks good. Like, you can get this guy in pretty good poses just as he sits. This first edition of Kylo Ren, Hasbro was really trying to figure out how to work the lightsaber, because it's a 3-bladed lightsaber, but all the lightsabers in the line have the gimmick of you can take the blade out of the hilt, and it's like, how do you do that with a 3-bladed lightsaber? Do you have 2 little stubby blades? Which I'm glad they didn't make 2 little separate stubby blades. While later on, they ended up just giving you a permanently lit and a permanently hilt, set. But this go around, they connected the 3 blades by, like, a little effect of a glow. And you know what? Honestly, innovative solution. I don't hate it. I definitely like the later versions more, but I'm like, like, Hasbro had their thinking caps on. I respect the choice. They figured it out later. But, like, this was not a bad drop. I was still happy to get this guy the day of. On to figure number 4, being the First Order Stormtrooper. The one of the set that I want redone the most. I think that a First Order Stormtrooper in today's market could genuinely sell well, even with as many sequel haters as there are out there. The First Order Stormtrooper was first released in 2015 at San Diego Comic-Con in some special white and black packaging, and it was meant to be a promotional thing. It was supposed to get people excited. I think they debuted the design at Comic-Con at a Force Awakens panel, if memory serves right. And so, it was like, hey, no spoilers. There's going to be stormtroopers in the movie. You can expect that. Just get the trooper early, get everyone excited. And then he comes out in figure number 4 in this first wave as well. And, right off rip, I remember people were getting that Comic-Con figure and being like, wow, the elbow can bend like 2 degrees, because the elbows on these guys are terrible. And you would think, like, oh man, like, with all this commentary on it, like, Hasbro's surely going to fix it before the mainline release. Nah. These guys were able to get it was like a 120 degree angle, a very obtuse angle when you're trying to bend the elbows. It was pretty rough. You could get him to 2-hand the blaster, but he was like holding it way out in front of him, like he was actually just offering it to another figure. But something really cool is he does come with a blaster, rifle, and pistol. And they feature the pegs to where you can stow it on his right thigh armor, which is an in-universe thing. They don't have holsters. They just snap it onto like a connector on the armor. And Hasbro did recreate that element of the design very nicely. But this figure very much so needs just a redo. Just a thorough redo on the First Order Stormtrooper. And then figure number 5, not very exciting, but we got a Force Awakens Chewbacca. This figure is the same Chewbacca that we got in the blue line. However, he has some different paint going on, and they did a new head sculpt to do a different, like, mouth expression. And then he has the different bandolier to properly represent the one that he is rocking in The Force Awakens. But it's a very subtly different bandolier. So it's like you're not reinventing the wheel on this Chewbacca. Otherwise, he has all the same kind of older articulation things. If you had the blue line one, you knew what you were getting here. That's not a bad thing, but it just is what it is. And so this figure, just kind of kind of is a one-off. It's just what it's gonna. Just Chewbacca. And honestly, Chewbacca did need to be put in this packaging. I respect it. I accept it. I'm good with it. Han and Chewie have a big role to play in this movie, and Chewbacca definitely couldn't be omitted just because we'd gotten him a year ago in different packaging. So I understand Chewbacca coming. And then if you want to talk about my special grail, because I'm going to rub it in a little bit and flex because I have it, Chewbacca also got released, not really, as a Hasbro employee gift in a special box set that came with this Chewbacca figure out of his packaging, packed with a casting of Chewbacca from the test run of Hasbro making the mold. So it's a prototype action figure. 400 were made. 50 of them were never given out and were destroyed by Hasbro. I had this information from Mr. Steve Evans himself. I DM'd him. He was very kind and helpful to me in giving me intel. And these were only available to Hasbro employees that worked on the Force Awakens launch. So I have something that belonged to a Hasbro employee at one point, but this was a ICCC pickup 2024, and my grail in the collection. There are not that many out there in private hands, but just showing it off. I did a video on this one, and so I do have the special Chewbacca. I made sure to make Force Awakens Chewbacca special in my collection. So just commenting that it exists, and I have it. So flex. But that said, this is the first wave of the red and black box. And ultimately, I think character selection nailed it. I mean, if you were going to give me 5 action figures from this movie, I think these are 5 very good action figures to get from this movie. Like, a good job, Hasbro, on the character selection here. I do really like how these guys turned out. Again, Rey and the Stormtrooper, kind of duds. Finn and Kylo Ren still hold up today, except it'd be nice to get a photo reel on the Finn. Chewbacca will always hold up because he is a very nice sculpt, and it's like, do you need photo reel on eyes? I get that's what they do now, but like the older Chewbaccas don't look like bad to me with the lack of the photo reel, because it's just eyes. This is a pretty good wave, one that I'm very sentimental about. It was really fun just going to the store and buying it. They still had some of the leftover like promo posters. I got a little like poster, with some, Force Awakens characters on it. It was a little freebie thing from the Force Friday event. Just really, really cool stuff. This was a really cool time to be a Star Wars collector because, like, everyone was excited about the sequels coming up. I had friends in school that just kind of casually liked Star Wars that were like, yeah, we're seniors in high school, but we're going to start buying action figures again. So it was just really cool. I was able to talk about a lot of people with figure collecting for a few months. The hype kind of died down around the time that Rogue One dropped. People were kind of like being like, yeah, Star Wars is just around, and that's just what it is. But these first couple of months leading up to The Force Awakens, and then right when it dropped, magical time to be a Star Wars fan. So that's all I got to say about this wave. Thank you for coming and listening to a collector reminisce. I'm going to go work on some other videos now. So may the Force be with each and every one of you. I hope you all have a great day, and we'll see you next week for more Black Series of Yesteryear. Peace.